Suji, please, when you're looking for a guy, because I was a Montessori, there were some things that were just non-negotiable. Can I wipe his bottom when we are super old? Better Late Than Single Season 2 came out, and today I want to make it a little bit more special by going a little bit deeper and making a little more personal statements. This Korean dating show, I keep referring to this as a coming of age show rather than a dating show because it just shows all these cast members' personal growth over the season. So I really liked this show. Compared to season 1, I feel like this season had a bigger variety in terms of the backgrounds of the cast members. They're not all university students. One of them actually stood out to me, Jae-seo. He's like a game developer, and you rarely see that type of person in a show like this. So I thought it was interesting, and he cried so much, it broke my heart. Even though his makeover wasn't really like glow up, it's more like, what happened?
He looked better before the makeover, I thought.
Yeah. Like they just wiped clean his own personal characteristics. I liked him because he was like bawling his eyes out, talking about how in his whole life he was just always thinking that once I get into this good university, I'll be successful, and then once I get this great job, I'll be successful. But now he's faced with this challenge where it takes two to be someone who's dating, because it's not something that he just puts in his best effort and can figure it out on his own. It's really hard for him, so I could kind of relate to that. I actually had no dating experience before meeting him, so I feel like this show is so meaningful to me because it coined the term 모태솔로, eternal single. For the first time, I think it just became this social phenomenon in Korea because now 12% of unmarried single women, they have never dated before.
In Korea?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Until they turn 39. So it's a very high number. In other data, I saw that it's even higher. The number goes even higher for guys. And they always blame it on the economic status of the people. I don't know if I agree 100%, but
I don't agree with that.
the higher your income is, the better chance of dating you have. So it increases, and it's not the case for other countries, but it is the case for Korea.
Korea is doing the best economically now that it's ever have in its history. Korea back in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s were having more marriages and more babies back then, right? Just because someone doesn't feel rich doesn't mean that they're not rich. You know, they just have to appreciate what they have. I personally, I think, you know, it's you know, there's also that famous study that says like the happiness level once you reach a certain income. I think for the US, I don't know, there's got to be a similar study in the Korea, but in the US, I think like the happiness, I think it's $150,000 a year. Once a family has a gross income of $150,000 a year, there's no difference in happiness level, like more than that. Like below that, sure, like, you know.
Korea is a super hyper-competitive country, and the economic divide is proven to be really big. So I think that's why people just look at them, and then people look at their friends in social media and then feel like, I don't have enough. And their self-confidence lacks too because of that. And the data show that they think of themselves as less than other people, more than other countries. When I see the contestants in this show, especially Jae-seo, because he was under so much pressure to be successful in like academic fields, and for me, my mom has always put this pressure on me. I feel like because when she's talking to these church ajumas, she'll be like, "Oh, she has no interest in boys. She always just thinks about studying." And that was like when I was in middle school, and that was a compliment. So it was ingrained in me that someone who dates is a nallari. You're never supposed to date until you go to college. So I was always just like, okay, I'm gonna be a good girl and never think about dating until I make it.
That's kind of funny, right? Because then all of a sudden there's like a switch.
I know.
Right, and then all of a sudden it's
seriously.
like, don't date, just do that. And then all of a sudden it's like, why aren't you married? Why aren't you married? Why aren't you dating anyone?
Once
Yeah.
you hit 20s, and then the tables switched, and the pressure is like, now where is the wedding invitation? So that was just like a shock to me. I went to all girls middle school, all girls high school, and then now I'm in this college where I'm allowed to freely date. All of a sudden, my parents are expecting me to bring a boyfriend, and I'm like so lost. What do I do now? Because my whole life I was told that dating is bad. So I think a lot of Korean college students have the same experience as me. In Korea, there are a lot of eternal singles, and as one of them, I can speak for them.
And we talked about this during season 1, but the girls are. It seems like the girls have all these things that they want in a guy, and I'm like, do guys like that exist? You know, like, you know what I mean? Like,
It's unrealistic.
yeah. Pardon me. I'm like, it's like, hey, like, you're not perfect either. You know, like so, and no one is perfect. No one in the world is perfect. The criteria is never, I feel, as if things that I think would be part of a long-term loving relationship. It's like metrics, you know, like this kind of job, this kind of income, like height, this family, and I'm like, what if that dude was a psychopath? Yeah. But he was tall, he had a good job, and he was rich, and he came from a good family, but he was a total a-hole misogynist.
So from my good heart, I want to give some advice to people like Suji, for example, like one of the contestants, because she's like 26 or something. She's so young and doesn't have any experience, but she's like so cute. You know, she doesn't lack anything, I feel like. And she every time she's like talking about like what makes that guy not fit for her, she'd be like, oh, I don't feel any like heart flutters, like, you know, 설레임이 없어요. Like, she's looking for somebody who's making her nervous. And I'm like, Suji, please, you know, those things just go away. Like, if my heart flutters every time I see him every morning, then my heart has some issues. Like, I mean, I still love you, but it's not different. It's
My heart flutters when I see you every day.
You're just giving me a hard time. I know. Yeah. I mean, 설레임, it doesn't last longer than what really matters. So, as an 언니, I feel like I owe this to the viewers who's younger than me. Please, when you're looking for a guy, look for things that matters, and I can tell you what matters from my experience. Okay, so this is gonna get a little personal. What was my impression? I've never asked you this. Mm-hmm. Could you tell that I was a eternal single?
No.
You couldn't tell?
No, well, because we started off by you telling me how many guys you dated.
I've never dated.
Or, sorry, 소개팅.
That is different, because dating in Korea, it means just a serious relationship.
How would you
I've
translate
never had
소개팅?
But it's...
Wait, no, what's the translation of 소개팅?
Okay. That is different. So 소개팅
Well, because
is
for the English viewers, what is a sogeting?
blind date.
Okay, what's that second word again? I didn't hear it.
It's two people set on a date
Yeah.
because
What?
your friends
Sorry,
know each
a what?
other. But
Set
it's
on a
not
what?
date. Okay. What I mean by dating in this term, eternal single, is being in a relationship, like a serious relationship, like one-on-one, boyfriend or girlfriend.
Okay.
And I've never been on that kind of relationship before meeting you. So I still fall in that criteria.
Okay.
I'm not lying when I say I was a eternal single. I've been on hundreds of, I've been on multiple blind dates, but it's not a date.
But the words you used was hundreds.
Okay. But that's different than dating. Okay. You just eat.
Okay.
You just eat.
Okay.
And then just exchange some pleasantries, and then you just go your ways. each other. Just never see each other again.
Okay.
You don't even text each other.
Okay.
That's it. So I'm still.
So like a one night stand.
Oh my gosh! What are you talking?
You just like do whatever, and then you just go your own ways. And you just never talk again.
No. Our channel is a
So it's
family-friendly
more. So
channel.
it's more like a date.
We just had
Is-
a dinner together. That's it.
So sogeting is when you just sit at a table and you eat food with someone.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, okay. So,
Yeah.
okay.
Who was your favorite cast member?
I like Suji. I thought she was nice. That Busan girl,
She's from Daegu. Suhyun.
Soohyun. Yeah, she was funny. She cracked me up, I thought. Yeah. I don't know. I didn't get the vibe. I felt like the contestants were less awkward than season 1. And the girls were like less mean to the awkward guys. Like season 1, the girls were like, man, for people who came on the show, I was like, oh, I can't find anybody. They're so mean to the guys. Like, you know, the guys are nervous and awkward too. And I don't know why the girls felt like they had to be so mean to them,
Yeah.
you know. But this season, they seemed like all the girls seemed a lot more approachable.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know?
Yeah, but I felt like Suji, she maybe belongs to Singles Inferno than here.
Why?
She's not awkward around guys ever.
Well, I think that also has to do with the fact that essentially spent most of our adolescence studying abroad in like a Western society. You know, maybe that's probably why. You know,
Yeah. So if I were to have like a one-on-one heart-to-heart session with her, I'm gonna tell her, you really need to focus on checking other boxes rather than like if he has the same hobby as you, like mountain climbing. It changes all the time.
Yeah.
Okay, those things change and don't last. And what Hyunseo, she was talking about like the cologne, like how smell really matters to her, and like those things don't last. So think about things that really matters. And for me, when I looked at you, when I first saw you, I thought about, has this person ever gone through hardships in their life? For example, you've been through some difficult stuff. And I could see that, yeah, you persevered and you really just like pushed through. So I could see that in 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, when life throws stuff at us, we can overcome that. So I thought that was really important. And number 2, I looked at how you treat people who's serving you, like waitresses, taxi drivers. You have to really watch how he interacts with other people, like including his buddies. So when I was able to watch those type of qualities, I think that really sealed the deal. And number 3 is if your life goal matches with his. And for me, it was easy because I always wanted an adventurous life. For him, because it's his job, he had to, whether he liked it or not, he had to always face difficulties and challenges all the time. And, you know, not to mention military, always having to move. And he felt like that was his shortcoming. When he was telling me all about that, I was very excited, but he felt bad that I'm gonna have to move every 2 years or 3 years. So what he thought was his weakness was actually a strength to me, and that really appealed to me. So my life goal of being an adventurer just kind of matched with his. So life is really hard, and I view it as going to a war. And just, you know, this battlefield is just hard to do by yourself. So when you're finding a life partner, find someone who can be your battle buddy, someone who can get your back when you fall. And I think I literally found my battle buddy because he's literally a soldier.
yeah. I mean, if they die, they don't want someone to be able to like find their body.
Was that your motivation
Isn't
for
that-
getting married?
Isn't that anyone's motivation?
Oh my god. Why is it suddenly so morbid?
I'm just saying, like,
No, that is so weird.
you don't think about that?
No.
Because if you're multi solo and you just like pass away in your apartment, then you're just like, even if you have cats, there's just they can't call the police.
Oh my gosh. No. When I was thinking
someone's got to be able to find you.
Are you serious? My goal was finding someone who can do the adventure that is life with me.
Yeah. Well, I had Sammy, and so I knew I had to go like on business trips. So it was just easier if
Sammy's our dog, by the way.
yeah, someone could watch him while I was gone instead of just taking him to the kennel. In all seriousness,
Abandoned ship.
I think whoever you find as your partner, people say this all the time, but I do believe it, is the most important decision you can make because it's the only person in your life that you're choosing. I can't choose the personality of my grandparents or my parents. Like, it is the one person in your life where you're choosing to be with them and share your life with.
Yeah.
You know, so I think it is by far the most. Everybody thinks it's like, oh, what school I go to, what profession I choose. All that stuff doesn't matter. Like, you can change jobs, you can go to whatever school. Like, but yeah, that's the most important and meaningful decision you make in your life. And it is something special, I think. Like, there's all these life moments where, you know, ever since the history of humans, we were meant to share life with others, right? Like, the human species was a tribal species. They didn't roam alone. I think both biologically and spiritually, you know, we're designed to share both life and good with others. And I think it makes it something special. Like that first part, like the fact that we chose each other, that makes our bond stronger than any other bond you have with any other family.
Yeah.
Right?
100%.
Yeah. Right? Like, I used to travel a lot when I was younger, you know, just because of the job.
Me too.
And I just remember, oh, it's cool. But I kind of like think back and I'm like, oh, those cool places that I went, it would have been so much more fun if you were there. You know, like, or even some of the trips that we've taken before the kids. I'm
They're
like,
getting so restless.
yeah, I'm just like, oh, it's like this is 1,000 times better. Like, even when I used to take you to, like, we traveled to places that I've been to
yourself.
before by myself. I was just like, oh, that's neat. Like, I remember thinking that when I'd go to those places by myself, and I'm like, now it's cool. Like, now it's awesome. There's like, okay, boomer, or whatever, right?
One day.
Yeah, or, I don't know, some people might say, oh, that's such a conservative point of view, and I'm just saying, like, hey, like, I'm telling you, as someone who has lived both, like, you're missing out. Like, I think there's people who are single because of that. Like, they think that they're giving up whatever, and I think there's some people that say that they don't want it, but they really do want it, but they just don't feel confident just putting themselves out there, right?
Yeah.
So I'd say let's just, like, take a chance. Like, yeah, don't be afraid to take a chance on someone who doesn't check those boxes, because I'm telling you, like the boxes are made up. You're limiting yourself to like 1% of the world. Like, there's the other 99%, there's like probably your perfect match in that 99%, but just because they wear the wrong perfume, like, you're never going to get to meet that guy or girl, right? The only criteria that anybody should look for is like, can I see myself? Is this a type of person that I could imagine my life with? It's not like height, weight, looks, race, anything. Like, family background, money, like, all that stuff, it'll work itself out. But if you care about him and he cares about you, then it really, nothing else should matter. And it won't matter. Like, you guys will figure it out together.
One of the questions I asked myself before committing myself to marriage to you was, can I wipe his bottom when we are super old? And the answer was yes. So that's why I married you.
Okay.
Hello.
The kids are getting restless now, so we're gonna wrap it up.
Thank you for watching. Blah blah blah.
Thank you for watching.
Whatever.